Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Greetings, my fellow Gambians. My name's Ebrima Tabora Manneh. I am the party leader of the People's Alliance Party, known as P.A.P or P.A.P. Well, today I'm going to have a brief discussion with my fellow Gambians, not on issues of politics, but on issues of grave national concern. Being a citizen of the country, so I'm talking just as a citizen of the country and not as a politician. And the discussion today would gear towards the issue that has to do with the appointment or the deployment of the Auditor General of the National Audit Office to the Ministry of Trade. I think most people, at least by now, will be aware of the current developments regarding either the appointment and or acceptance of the offer by the Auditor General, or the lack of acceptance, as we've seen the correspondence. I mean, between the Auditor General and the government as well. But in a nutshell, first, I think most people know or are aware of the role of the National Audit Office. It is supposed to be an independent body, not to be influenced by anyone or any individual, any institution, or any public official. Because what we expect of the National Audit Office is to give us an independent report of their findings in terms of the management of the resources of the public resources by various departments. Because the audit exercise that they usually do, covers government departments, public institutions, and enterprises, parastatals. And the audit is not necessarily a witch hunt. It's not a witch hunt, in fact, per se, but is to ensure that public resources are judiciously, utilized, for the benefit, of all citizens of all country. Meaning the resources will be used for their intended purpose, that is to benefit the public, and not necessarily, to enrich any individual or to be mismanaged for the benefit of the custodians. I think of late people had complaints by a lot of people saying that public resources are being mismanaged and squandered, or there's a lot of corruption. In the country, and what that points to is that resources that belong to all Gambians that are supposed to be utilized for the benefit of all Gambians to ensure that our various departments work efficiently and effectively. Departments such as, the hospitals, or institutions such as our schools are to be properly funded so that we have good roads, and electricity are well supplied. So the auditors will go in from the National Audit Office and do their audit work, their audit exercises. And it's all geared to make sure that, there is effective and efficient use of public resources. Then they will issue their reports. And the reports will highlight, what they've observed, what they've seen, and that would say whether the funds were well used or not, whether their policies, they were good policies, and whether controls were followed to ensure that there's no mismanagement. And if they have any findings that are adverse, they will also be reported accordingly so that the public can be informed, can be aware of how their resources have been managed. And they'll also give their recommendations. And these reports are usually shared with, the relevant authorities, the legislative body. That's why sometimes we hear that in the National Assembly, they have this committee that's a PAC, PAC, and PEC, I think Public Accounts Committee and Public Enterprises Committee. So these audit findings, audit reports will be shared with them, and they will review them. They will do their recommendations, and if the reports are good, they will give their opinions unqualified. And if there are any issues, they will either give unqualified, qualified opinions, or sometimes adverse opinions. But usually what that will do is that departments that are doing well will be encouraged to continue doing what they're doing, and recommendations will be done so that they can do better next time. And those who are found wanting, meaning they've mismanaged public funds through corruption or various means of diverting funds for personal benefit, I mean, those ones will be, held to account. I mean, and it does expose, I mean, corruption in various sectors. And we have to understand that the National Audit Office, based on for the Auditor General, basically, based on the National Audit Office Act, I think 2015 years, they have they're supposed to have a contract for 9 years. I think section 16 years. It says 9 years. So we assume that the current Auditor General had a contract for 9 years, and the last Auditor General was there. Left basically, I don't think it's more than 2 years, but definitely less than 3 years. So the current office holder has been there for no more than 3 years, less than 3 years. I would assume between 2 to 3 years, and that means he has close to 7 years left to go. So his contract has not expired yet, and it's clearly stated in the National Audit Act, also the same section 16, that he cannot be relieved of his responsibility unless the contract is expired years, which is definitely understood, or if he doesn't have the competency, he cannot deliver. I mean, that is also understood. If he is infirm or mentally he's not capable, I mean, that is also well understood. Or if he is found wanting, basically meaning that he is not honest, he is corrupt, I mean, he's dishonest, or he has practices that are questionable, then we can say he's not fit for that responsibility. But for the young man who is currently the Auditor General, without an iota of doubt, the man is very well experienced. He has the education, he has the know-how. I mean, he has the work experience. He's been doing it for quite a while. He was one time at the Internal Audit Office, and everybody who knew him knows that he is definitely a very hardworking person. But on top of that, also, he is quite an honest gentleman. I mean, a very decent one, a very hardworking one who is not. I can vouch for him that he is not corruptible. I mean, he is really an honest person. Quite a gentleman, very humble guy, a very decent guy who deserves that purpose. Because we want somebody to be in that position who will be independent, who cannot be corrupted. I mean, who is God fearing, who is patriotic, who really is concerned for the welfare of the country, and who will report his findings without any fear or favor. And that is the gentleman here for you. I mean, Momodu Ceesay. For all Gambians, I want them to know that the guy is quite a gentleman. He is very deserving of that purpose. So it's been really surprising when we heard that what they're trying to do is at least to move him from his position prematurely before the expiry of his contract, and to move him to the Ministry of Trade. And through the correspondences that we've seen, the approach was not proper, and he has not accepted the offer. And even within, if positions are offered to people, I mean, it is not, verbal contracts are usually not adhered to. So the contract has to be written, and it has to be made by an offerer, and it has to be accepted by, the one that it's offered to, which is the Auditor General in this case. And I believe such a thing doesn't happen or doesn't exist, because if the offer is done and it's not in writing, or if it is in writing but it's not accepted by the Auditor General in writing as well, then it shouldn't hold. And because of the sensitive nature of the responsibility of the National Audit Office and the Auditor General as well, I think this should be something that should definitely be reconsidered by the government, because he shouldn't be caused to accept the responsibility of the ministry when his professional qualification and his expertise is in the field of auditing and accountancy, and working as a professional auditor. So I think that is the area that he specialized in, and he should be allowed to continue his service for the duration of his contract. Otherwise, it will send a wrong message to the public and to the international body that I mean, he's wrongfully been forced and moved from an area that is his proper line of work to an area maybe that is not suitable for him. And you know, an auditor general is you know, is a very, very sensitive area that we should allow them to be independent. We should allow them to do their work, I mean, and to accept their reportings and their responsibilities. And because what they do is to promote transparency and accountability and good governance. And I think any responsible government should definitely promote and support that. And we are aware that there are still now a lot of pending audit reports that are yet to be either one finalized or to be, I mean, at least shared with the relevant authorities and the legislative bodies, whether there is delays in the audit exercise or it's not, they are not out and issued for one reason or another. There's a lot of there are lots of doubts surrounding those issues, and it's raising lots of significant concerns um, uh, about whether the government is cooperating with the Auditor General, or whether they're trying to, you know, derail their work or frustrate them, or to replace them with somebody who would at least maybe make a cosmetic of the report, sanitize it, and bring out report that will be suitable, I mean, for the desires of the authorities. So I think this is quite of a national concern, a grave concern at that. I think all Gambians should be aware of the development that is currently happening, and everybody should definitely be against that and try to protect the young man, because he's doing work for the entire country, for all Gambians. I mean, trying to at least safeguard and preserve our resources, or at least let us know what has happened of the resources of the country, so that people who mismanage our public funds can be identified and possibly be held to account. So to try to really move him out of his position, and it's like is of grave concern to us, because it will signal that they're trying to hide something, or they don't want him to complete the work that he's been doing with his work. And we've known that over the years, during the past 2 years, when he assumed the responsibility of the Auditor General, and prior to that, there are a lot of pending audit exercises that are yet to be finalized, and the findings to be shared with the general public. So this would allow the young man to complete his work, to do his findings, and at least share his report with the general public. Otherwise, if he is forced, I mean, to move to the Ministry of Trade, I mean, people will start to really doubt the government, and part of the concern would be that the government is trying to hide something. So therefore, my appeal would be definitely to the authorities, mostly to the head of state. Perhaps he may not be in the picture. Maybe he's well, I'm sure he's in the picture, because but at least he doesn't know the seriousness of this issue. To make sure that the young man is protected. I mean, the audit department, the national audit, is also protected and supported, and allowed to have the independence that they deserve, for the young man to serve his term of 9 years. I mean, to be allowed to do his work without any interference from any individual. I mean, that is what, I mean, the country deserves. Anything less than that would be a betrayal of their responsibility. I mean, it would be, I mean, something that is not fair to the young man as well. And it can lead to unforeseen situations. I mean, that can even, I mean, question I mean, the integrity of the government, or their honesty. And most people will start to really believe that, yes, perhaps they are trying to cover corruption or corrupt activities, or departments that have been involved in corrupt activities, and they don't want them to be exposed. And that will not tell well to those who are informed, those who are aware, but to also our development partners, to the international partners. So I think the government should definitely reconsider, I mean, their proposal to deploy the young man to the Ministry of Trade, because they've been really doing a lot of very good work, I mean, for the country and for the people. So to definitely at this 11th hour come in and try to interrupt their work when there's a lot of pending work that need to be finalized by the department would definitely send a very wrong message to the general public. Therefore, we're appealing to the government to definitely reconsider, I mean, this decision to move the young man. Otherwise, they could do their steps and move him, but at least people will also, I mean, are entitled to their opinions and their observations and their conclusions regarding the reason and the reasons why they try to move the young man from his current position. So, and I challenge all Gambians, I mean, all concerned Gambians, I mean, to stand for the Auditor General in these trying times, to make sure that his rights are not violated by the authorities, to ensure that he's allowed to do his work without any interference from any unit. This is an honest public servant. He is a decent man, well informed, very highly educated, very honest person. So we all owe him that obligation to stand by him, to support him, to be there for him. I mean, in spirits and in person as well. So we pray to Allah that the head of state would definitely do the right thing, and to make sure that he's not influenced by those who are well connected, or those who are, I mean, assumed or perceived to be involved in the mismanagement of public funds. Yeah, so we pray to Allah to at least protect and protect the young man, and at least the authorities also to give them the wisdom to do what is right for the young man and for the country as well. Thank you so very much.